Hi everyone. Hello, Diana and Deanna. Got Savannah and we got Scarlett. I'm going to talk a little bit about oils and other things we can do to support our dogs. You got any questions or comments? Go ahead and post them, and if we can't get them answered during the video, we will do look afterwards. We're not vets. We can't make diagnose or treat, but we've found some things that really seem to help support what the dogs are doing. And we did a video a while back, and the quality wasn't good. I'm hoping this one will be better so we can post it and you can reference it or go back to. So we're going to talk again. Young Living has a pet line. I like it because it's definitely, Scarlett, you miserable. Definitely diluted and ready to go for the dogs to use. Otherwise, if we don't, and we'll talk about them a little bit, if we don't use the oils, I use like D6 or coconut oil and dilute. Do you like your oils? And dilute some of the other ones. But Young Living has a shampoo I really like, and it's really, really thick and concentrated. I like to use that. And they have some oils. This one's Pure Clean. There's a Infect Away, Pure Clean, and Men Well. These are all meant to be used together. Go in and get it clean good, infection away, and Men Well helps, really good one. And what you can follow up with that is with the Animal Sense ointment. You can put on to hold that onto the skin longer and also help further dilute it. They have a Repel Away. I've still not been able to order, but I think it does exactly what they say it does. And then Tea Away. Started this using it during storms and fireworks. Do you like this one? But I do use this at night because it really helps them sleep well. What do you think? You can watch. She's not really overly excited. We even did a little lip thing. She's not turning back. Let's see the lip going up. So they do like that one to sleep well at night. Then there's Paragizes for the tummy, and I use like Digize, or I use the kids one, and it really helps. And you can rub that right on their tummy if there's an issue when they get a new foster dog in. And you know, there's a switch of food and that kind of stuff I like to. Hi, Linda. I like to use that on their tummies and stuff. But what I normally do, a lot of people put them on their ears or their feet. I don't like to do that, especially foster dogs aren't real crazy about their feet being touched. You should touch and play with them, and I just worry too because if you've blocked it, which oil? I'm talking about the pet lines 9, but I'm just saying if I'm going to, let's say I'm going to put some Tea Away on Savannah. I'm going to put a little drop in my hand, and this one is already diluted, but you can also see I just got just one drop. I always start with one drop, and you can just add a little carrier oil from this side. I just put it on. Now she's kind of laying down. I just pet. If you stand up here a minute, lazy bones, and just pet down her fur. Her fur will suck it right in. And while she wasn't real crazy about smelling it straight out of the bottle, they love this. And this just actually goes in. If I'm doing on their tummy, the Paragise, you can use the Tummy Gize by the kids line or the Digize, which I really would dilute that one. That one's pretty powerful. Oh, she says, oh, I like that. So we're rubbing tummy and back, but they really, really like that. Some of the other oils we found, like I took their bug repellent, or you can take some oils, and I put that in a roller ball. So while I'm not using it this time of year, I can just quickly rub that on my hand, and each dog gets petted with that in the mornings. One of the dogs was doing some having some issues, and so I just made a blend for her, and I just dropped some in my hand. That's already diluted and ready to go if I know I'm using something regular. That one works great. Taylor, yeah. Taylor, our non-sleeping little dog, she has a little bit of separation issues, and the diffuser helps, and we run lullabies for her. But she was real, she would be at the gate all night long, waking us up. So Deanna, I think it was you who suggested the Valor. Oh my gosh! I mean, I've been waking her. This has been like 5 or 6 days straight where I'm getting up and waking her up. I put this one on her. They have a diffuser going at night. Any of your stress-aways, peace and calmings. Like I said, the Valor, frankincense, lavender. Some dogs. This one's pretty strong. The lavender. Any of those can help. Diffusing really works well because it helps for everyone. But like I said, you can always pat it on. I usually go a little slow. Now here I'll show you what happens if she smells purification. What is that? What is that? So she's not saying she doesn't like it. She's not overly, I mean, we don't necessarily need them to eat it. But purification's a great one. I diffuse this one. Helps their laundry smell better. Helps if, I have a brother-in-law that has a dog that rolls and stuff. And this one works great because even after you bathe them, if they roll in something dead, this will help. So I like to use that one. I've given mine Ninja Red. I grabbed the Thieves Cleaner. I've used Thieves Cleaner on their skin when I'm bathing them. I use it on their feet, especially if they have some spots they're chewing and stuff, but it's a good way to put it on ahead of time. We've made sugar scrubs with the oils, but again, the oils can help with anxiety, achiness. I've got some when I've had the senior dogs, or the ones that don't, feel well, then I've rubbed down and I just kind of gone down into their back. I don't know if you've heard of Raindrop, but those work really, really good on the Raindrop technique, which is application of oils, and you massage that on, and that really helps. That's something you can do weekly, monthly. If a dog needs it, it's a good boost, and mine really like it. And they say sometimes, get it on the best way you can because they don't like to sit still, but mine seem to enjoy it. So introducing the oils to the dogs, wear it yourself, diffuse, start slow and low. 1 drop almost always is enough, and I would dilute. She can take quite a bit of oils, little Scarlet, because she has a lot of issues, but sometimes even a big dog just only needs 1 drop, so you can start that way. I think I'll let you talk a little bit about food, and then if there's any questions or whatever. Do you need me to take her?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Basically, I'm going to kind of, obviously I could probably talk about food for a million hours, but I think the most important thing to remember is cats and dogs have a lot shorter intestines than us. So what that means is they need to get the most nutrients out of their food in a short period of time, opposed to us where our body has quite a while to get some of the nutrients out of the food we eat. So 3 things kind of really help with, that's okay, I'd probably rather than them be on the camera. The first thing is moisture. Moisture is probably one of the #1 things with whether it be your cat food, your dog food. It helps them get as much nutrients as possible out of their food. So whether it be wet food, kibble, just making sure that there's a lot of moisture in the food they eat. Second being raw. That is definitely becoming more and more of a thing, and people are starting to understand the benefits of it. The idea behind raw is that when meat is cooked at high temps, which you obviously need to cook meat at high temps in order to make it into a kibble, it removes a lot of the enzymes that are vital for dogs and cats. So yes, they're able to live on the kibble, but they don't thrive, and a lot of times you'll see a lot of health issues, especially age 2 and 3, because their body is living, obviously, but it's not thriving. And this isn't just like, you can't just feed them raw hamburger. There's more to it than that. You definitely can do it on your own. It just means having recipes. There's more they need in their diet than just meat. The bone is a big deal, so having something that can grind down the bone. Kind of thinking about if they were to kill a rabbit in the wild, that rabbit would also still have stuff like unprocessed grass and stuff. vegetables in its stomach, so the dog would be eating that as well. So it's not that they can't digest carbs, and that's my next point. It's avoiding the grains. The grains, the dogs and cats don't have the enzymes we do that break down the grains. Anyone who switched their dog from a grained food to a non-grained food will notice right away that there is a decrease in the amount of poop, because they're not any grains in a food. So if you're paying for a dog food and it has grains in it, it's all just getting pooped out. So they're basically pooping your money away. And I obviously realize not everyone can do raw, not everyone can. It is more expensive, it is time consuming, but I think the important part is if you're not going to do it, that you read the labels on the back of your dog food. We talk about that with human food, but it's especially important for pet food. And from a marketing perspective, companies know what we're looking for. They know what we're looking for, stuff that's high in protein, grain-free. But you have to look more so at the labels, because something to think about is when you look at your ingredients on the back of a bag of dog food, all those ingredients are listed by weight. And that weight is before it's baked. So it's before it goes into an extruder and a baker. They weigh all those ingredients, and that's how they list them. So your number one ingredient is whatever weighs the most. So if you see chicken as the first ingredient, think about the fact that chicken in its natural form is going to weigh a lot more than, whether it be sweet potato or cornmeal or rice. But once that gets baked, you're knocking it down probably 3 or 4 steps, and you're moving everything else up. What you want to look for is chicken meal. Chicken meal is the actual chicken dried. So if it's mealed, it means it's the dried form. So if that means that once it's baked, it won't go down so far in your ingredient list. Obviously, things you also have to consider is sourcing. You should be able to go onto any website for your dog food, and they should be honest and open about where that sourcing is coming from. They should be honest about where the ingredients are coming from. If they're not, there's probably not a good idea. There's a reason they're not being honest about it or posting it. Things you want to avoid are animal byproducts. Anything obviously byproduct means it's the leftover. Chicken byproduct would be anything that is left over after the breast is removed. So that can include beaks, feet, which I'm not saying chicken feet are great. Raw.
Yeah.
Not baked down and not as a basis for the animal's meal. And then anything that says animal byproduct can be any animal. There is no regulations on that. So it can be any type of rendered animal. Fortunately, even it can be other cats and dogs. When you're looking at the back of that label, also consider things like not just looking at the protein percentage. I recently was comparing 2 brands, and the one brand was actually almost 10% more protein, so you would think it would be the better of the brands. But several of the proteins were pea and potato protein, which obviously, yes, it's a source of protein, but is it the most beneficial for an animal that a carnivore? No, not really. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll split up those proteins to kind of make it look good. Or they will divide up something like split the carbs, like a pea or whatever, so that it helps with the ingredients so it looks better. So kind of really diving in and looking at them. The second thing we always look at is when comparing is look how much they're telling you to feed for, and I obviously will just pick like a 10-pound dog, regardless of, what size dog the customer has. If a brand is asking
Jessica.
you to pay almost double, or pay, asking you, well, sometimes pay also, asking you to feed double. Why? Why is it? A lot of times it means there's a lot of filler in there. So something that maybe a brand that looks extremely expensive, if you compare it to maybe that lesser expensive brand, it might be a matter of you feed half of what, some of them it's almost half of what the other cheaper brands. So when it evens out, you actually maybe are you're paying more for the cheaper brand in the long run because you're feeding more. Sorry, just quick looking at my note. I guess the other thing with adding raw into your pet's diet, if you can, it doesn't have to be every meal. Just adding a little bit can really benefit them, whether you're doing it as a treat or an extra meal. But make sure you're using safety measures. So make sure you're using a glass or stainless steel bowl. Make sure as soon as you feed it, you're washing that bowl, you're washing the area. We definitely, that's where our thieves cleaner comes in huge. Once we get all the dogs' bowls done, we thieves down the counter, and then their bowls are washed every meal, which definitely helps. Looking at my mom's list, some of the other things we do for the pets is bones. We do a lot of raw bones here, and dehydrated bones. It helps with their teeth. And that is also another benefit of the raw. The raw food naturally has enzymes that clean a dog's teeth. You have to be careful with a lot of your dental chews that they sell. A lot of them have a lot of sugar in them, so it's kind of going to defeat the purpose. Also, something we constantly hear is that I need to feed my dog kibble, and I was the same way, thinking that it would be good for their teeth because it's dry. And I had one of the people I was having a class with, they said to me, well, it would be the same as us rubbing granola on our teeth and expecting them to be clean. So I thought that was a good way of doing it. Probiotics. A lot of times we'll have customers come in and, maybe they've ran out of their dog food and we want to, try to maybe get them on something that's better, but they can't do a transition. We have probiotics are great for that. We actually do probiotics daily here. I actually was going to start my own probiotics today because I am better with the dog than I am myself. And part of the Young Living ER, I received a free bottle of the Live 9 probiotics. So not only will we be giving the dogs their probiotics, but I guess I'm going to be starting mine as well.
So important.
So important. Very important. And I mean, there's lots of brands out there. And there's also goat's milk, which is a natural form of it. We use that a lot. Especially I have a lot of goat's milk that has turmeric in it and stuff that helps with the inflammation. So that's an easy thing. It's raw goat's milk, so you can get at quite a few of your pet stores. And probably some Whole Food stores. And that also helps with, you can get the raw enzymes out of that because it's not been pasteurized.
Dehydrated bone, Linda's asking.
Oh, dehydrated bone? Yes. So a lot of times, we get that question with feeding dogs bones. As long as they're not baked, as long as it's dehydrated or it's frozen, definitely helps. It's the baking that causes the splintering, and that's where the dogs you can have issues with that. I just recently, we constantly are asked about rawhide bones. And we were kind of told, neither they're good nor they're bad. But I know Dr. Karen Becker, who I watch a lot of her videos, was just talking about it's not even the matter of them being good or bad. It's a matter of now the chemicals that they have to use on that skin to form the rawhide. So that's why we definitely at our house, we do a lot of tracheas, which freaks everyone out. Bully sticks, which
I don't know if you know what those are, but those are from the bull.
They're from the bull, and
it's a part of the anatomy the girl cows don't have.
So these guys love those. We do a lot of the marrow bones. Those are great too. Once they've chewed them, slap a little organic pumpkin in it and freeze it, and then bring it back out for them. Pumpkin's one of those awesome things that it kind of reminds me of the Digize, where you know, it helps it helps with the constipation and it helps with diarrhea. Pumpkin's the same way. We recommend that to a lot of our customers, especially if the dog gets into something and they're having an upset stomach. The pumpkin's great for that. Or if you see a lot of butt scooting, these guys got some pumpkin this morning because Taylor was doing the butt scoot this morning.
It was me. And you don't use pumpkin pie. You use organic canned pumpkin. So, and like I did squash this fall, and we've all ate it together. So.
Yep. And we recommend, like, if you get a can of it, put it in an ice cube tray and then freeze it, and that way you can take out a little bit at a time as needed. Unless you have a million dogs like we do, then you probably will go through it a lot faster.
And we usually probably only give it once a week or so. If
you
see someone do the scoot, then it's time.
Yep, because it is important for their poop to be firm, because that naturally secretes the anal glands. But we also don't want them extremely uncomfortable. And there is some pumpkin in the commercial raw that we do feed. But sometimes they just need a little bit more, especially I think right now when they're not going outside as much to poop, or when they get out there they don't want to poop because they're freezing.
And they're not running and playing, so.
So we've just added a little bit extra to it. So yeah, that's, unless anyone else has any more questions, I think that's pretty much my half of it.
Here, Taylor, show them your little seal eyes. Do you think she has seal eyes, you guys? Her little eyes are so sad.
She's always sad.
She's the little one keeping us up all night. She strums on the gate. We say she's playing the harp. But that Valor, oh my gosh, it's my new best friend. Yeah, Taylor. She's such a cutie. The other two are busy chewing, so we didn't put them on. But yes, if you have any questions, we'll watch again too. But thanks for checking in, and oh, that was a different message. Alrighty, thanks. Good night.